Coming through! Just when you thought it wasn't going to happen, here is the long overdue discussion video on Zora Ideale. Wait, whoa. Guys, I'm not even kidding right now. You need to look behind you right now. No, I'm serious. It's getting closer. Oh my god, I can't look. Oh my god. Oh good lord, you need to turn around now. Okay. I'm sure most of you didn't turn around, and that's fine, but those of you that did, I just want to say I appreciate it. And to express that appreciation, here is a stink bug. Okay, they're mini M&Ms. I'm sorry. You know what? During the winter, there are stink bugs all over the place. They get indoors, and like every day during the winter months, I am finding stink bugs in my room and having to get rid of them. But now it's the summer and I can't find any, so whatever. We'll just have to make do with little mini M&Ms. They're chocolatey and delicious. Okay, so, Zora video. Hold on, let me get back into character here. Oh. Okay, screw it. All right, go to the intro. Just go to the intro. I wonder what color Zora's gonna be. Oh, he was purple for some reason. That doesn't make any sense. He's pale as a sheet and he has red hair, but okay, whatever. Anyway, Zora, don't judge a book by its cover. That's the lesson to take away from Zora. You just look at Zora, what do you think? Oh, he's like this lanky, pale guy, crazy red hair, he's got the jagged teeth, and, if you see him in like a dark alley walking towards you, he'd beat the crap out of you and then like rip off your head or something. Like, no, he's not that mean. Okay, well, you still don't want to run into him in a dark alley. Let's you want to be nice to him if you do, you don't want to mumble something under your breath like, that guy looks like a freak. He can hear you, alright, and he is a bit of a street tough, so yeah, you don't make him mad, but he's not that bad of a guy. He does have a bit of a jagged personality, and the first time we get to meet him, he beats the crap out of a high-ranking member of the Purple Orcas, which actually led a lot of people to think that he was going to be the main antagonist for the Royal Magic Exam arc, because that's when he first shows up well after 100 chapters into the series. This guy just rocks into the royal capital, beats the shit out of one of these, high-ranking magic knights, steals his cloak, and then enters the Royal Magic Knights exam alongside Asta and Mimosa for their team, Team B. So, we don't know who this guy is yet. We've just met him. We don't know where this is going to go, if it was going to turn out like, oh, he's a sleeper agent for the Eye of the Midnight Sun or something. Like, we have no idea. But as the story progresses, we find out that he has a bit of a kind of, personality where he likes to just to screw with people for no real reason, or mostly Asta, but other people as well. He has kind of a difficult personality, but he does turn out to be an ally. Even more so of an ally because he turns out to be a Black Bull. Tried and true. Actually, the way he entered the Black Bulls, not really entered so much as just Yami kind of let him in. It was a little different from, like, the official way of doing it, like Asta with the exam, or even, like, Noelle, who caught, like, a backdoor entry because the Silva family was basically, like, just, let her join the Black Bulls, and that's how she got in through special exception. No, Zora was like part of like a street gang, I guess, that attacked Yami at one point, and Yami, being Yami, of course, just beat the crap out of all of them, but he was like particularly impressed with Zora. I don't know, I think mostly just because he liked his aesthetic. He's looking at Zora like, I like the hair and the straps and everything in the teeth. You would definitely fit in with my squad. So he just tosses in my Black Bull cloak and was just like, here you go. You can put it on if you want or not. I really don't care, but there you go. You have it now. And so, Zora even responded, like, even after somebody that just attacked Yami, he's like, I don't think you should be handing these things out, like, willy-nilly, like candy, right? These are, like, one of the, most prestigious statuses of any mage in the entire kingdom, and you're just handing them out to a random street tough that just tried to attack you. But Yami's like, yeah, well, I do what I want. I'm Yami. So, Yami basically tells him the way that I took away from that scene was like, okay, I'm giving this cloak to you, all right? You don't have to wear it if you don't want to. You can throw it away, you can burn it, you can do whatever, you can keep going around doing what you want to do. But if you put it on, just know, then you will be an official member of my squad. Right? Kind of that sort of deal. Like, he's giving him the choice. So, yeah, though, the first time, though, Zora rocks into town, you don't know what to expect, right? A very striking appearance. And, in fact, I was actually thinking about this, and he's sort of like the Batman of Black Clover, if you think about it a little bit, okay? Because he is a vigilante. That's what he really did before he started to join the Black Bulls and really mingle with the other squad mates, like Asta and Noelle and everybody. So Zora basically just traveled the kingdom, keeping his eye out for any magic knights that might be abusing their position or, treating the peasants badly, treating anybody badly, because magic knights aren't supposed to do that. They're not supposed to look down on anybody. Many of them are royalty or nobles, and they will look down on anybody that has inferior magic or of a lower class. Like I said in the Noel video, Tabata does a great job of really dialing up that kind of class warfare. Alright, so you have a lot of people up on their ivory towers, like with gold toilets and everything, like, oh, it's so lovely having all of the magic, it's lovely having all of the money, we are just superior to everyone else, and we can do anything we want to the peasants because we are always right. And Zora basically looked at that and he's like, okay, well, you can have that outlook on the world if you want, but don't be surprised if some of the dogs, bite your hand in the process. He probably won't kill you, but if he sees someone doing that, like a magic knight mistreating a peasant or something, like, get out of my face, peasant! I don't have time to deal with your peasant problems, but my son has been kidnapped by brigands! Please help him, Mr. Magic Knight! I got more important stuff to do, like go and mingle with a bunch of my magic knight friends. That's when Zora shows up. He's kind of like Garo from One Punch Man, now that I'm thinking about it. That's when you turn around and Zora's there, and he's like, sup? What are you peasant doing? Oh! And then he just punches him in the face and knocks you down. So, yeah, the reason why he does what he does, a big part of it is his father, Zara, which we'll be getting into in a second here. But I think it's like, he doesn't have this naive dream that if he just beats the crap out of all the assholes and the Magic Knights, then they'll just stop being the way they are. I mean, that's just silly. I think it's just more for venting for what happened with his dad, and that kind of helps shape his personality. And this is the way he sees, like, himself spreading justice in the world, even if it's in this kind of warped way. So yeah, this was a picture of Zora when he was a little kid. As you can see, he looked a little different, not the crazy hair. He still had the red hair, but he wasn't as pale. His teeth, well, we can't really see his teeth here, but, the straps around his face, we've never seen him as an adult without them. They might just be an aesthetic choice because, oh, these things make me look cool, or part of a disguise, or maybe they really do serve a purpose. Maybe his lower face got all mangled and it's like there's scars and everything. He's got like a Glasgow smile or something, like his jaws ripped open. Maybe that's why he wears them. We haven't seen him without them yet, or it could just be a choice. Those teeth, though, are really his teeth. So if he didn't have them when he was a kid, that means he had to take a file to it at one point. So the whole point of his design was actually based off of a doll that his dad gave him growing up. Zora was rather a timid and quiet kid in his younger years, and his father wanted him to speak more. His father was very positive, kind of like a glass half full kind of dude, an optimist, basically, going around like, come on, Zora, you can talk more, open up to other people, that kind of thing. So, Zora's dad, Zara, was the very first peasant to ever join the Magic Knights. Like I said, most of the magic seems to be, stuck with the nobles and the royal classes. Not every single peasant that's born has inferior magic. Every once in a while, like in the case with Yuno, you'll have a peasant that has incredibly high magic power. Or in the case with Asta, none. But yeah, most of the time, it's the royalty and the nobles that have most of it, right? But in Zara's case, he didn't have like a crazy amount of magic power, but he had enough, and he used it in a clever way in order to gain entrance into the purple orcas, okay? Now, even though he wasn't like the star of the squad or anything like that, it wasn't like he had a four-leaf clover grimoire, he didn't have that, but with his magic power and with his ingenuity, he had trap magic, which is the same kind of magic that his son has, Zora. He has it as well. He used his magic in conjunction with his traps in order to really be a big player on the battlefield, because that's what trap magic is all about. You lay it out where you think your opponents are going to attack, or at like the worst possible like choke point, like your enemies go to attack you and then all of a sudden they step on the magic circle and like spikes come up and they get knocked back or whatever. Like, he used it in a really clever way. So he wasn't like a bunch of the royals that were just like using all their magic power to just overwhelm his opponent. He used a little bit more of just his ingenuity, and it ended up working, okay? It even impressed Julius, because back when Julius was the captain of the Gray Deer, which are now the Azure Deer, he saw Zara, and he's just like, man, this is a peasant, but he's a magic knight, and he's getting the job done. And in a lot lot of respects, he's doing it better than a lot of the other nobles and royalty are. So yeah, Julius kind of looked at Zara as sort of like inspiration, as kind of like a time that it's changing. You know, what does he really want to do? And when Julius eventually became the Wizard King, he strived to make the world maybe better and more equal for everybody. He didn't really succeed all that well, and now Julius is kind of dead, but you know what I mean. Like, you know, he saw Zora as an inspiration, which is really cool. Zora did as well. Being his father, he loved him very much. Now, Zara, it was very vague. We didn't really get to see, like, how he died. But basically how it went was his squad mates killed him. Basically, I think how it went was they were jealous of Zara, basically, of how he was, like, because Zara, he was not like he didn't brag about how awesome he was or anything. He wasn't just like, hey guys, check out all that stuff, I took out so many people in that last battle, I'm so awesome. You know, I think it was just they hated him because he was a peasant, and because he didn't know his position, okay? He wasn't like, I am a lowly peasant and I'm just inferior to everybody else. No, he was a happy, chipper person, and I think that just pissed everybody off. You know, everybody that was of higher, like, station of him, then he was like, oh, we need to do something about Zara going around acting like he's so happy all the time when he's a peasant, you know, using his magic in clever ways to make up for his lack of power. You know, we need to do something about him. So at his funeral, Zora was present and kind of overheard some of his squad mates talking shit about his father and what really happened, and that kind of skewed Zora on what path he was going to take later on in life. That's when he took the doll that his father gave him and he modeled himself after it, and then he basically just started traveling the kingdom like, all right, freaking, you know, magic knights, you want to rumble? I'll rumble with you. Then he runs into Yami, who Yami is, of course, not a typical magic knight. So that's something that's like they have in common. They're kind of outsiders in that regard there. Gives him the, you know, the cloak and everything. And then eventually he decides to don it and become an official member of the Black Bulls, okay? Oh, it also helps a big time for his character, and I'll just bring this up now. His English voice actor is the single best English voice actor and Power Ranger there ever was, Johnny Yong freaking Bosch, alright? So, anybody that has his voice, any character that shows up is an instant favorite for me. Even if I didn't like the character in the Japanese, if I'm just like, I don't really care much for that character. If in the English dub he has Johnny's voice, I'm like, alright. I'll give him a second chance just for that reason alone, Johnny. But yeah, I like Zora to begin with, so it was all good. So, the kind of magic he uses. Well, he specializes in trap magic, hence the trap cards, but he also uses ash magic. If any of you got that joke before I pointed it out, I love you. Here's another stink bug / M&M. I'm gonna be cleaning these up all over my room, but yeah, they're very delicious. Anybody ever just take the whole tube of mini M&Ms and just down them in just one gulp? Like, oh my god, that's yeah, that's the 32 grams of sugar. That's awesome, you know, but it's awesome. It's great. It's fun. It's chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate? Zora even loves chocolate. All right, so here's the thing, though. Trap magic is its own thing, but it's also dependent on the nature of magic you have. Right? So, if you have flame magic as your element, you can use trap magic as well. It would just be flame-based traps. Like, you would lay out magic circles, you step on it, and then flames shoot out. Water magic, same deal. You can lay traps that shoot out like water, like little twisters or typhoons or whatever, okay? That's just how it goes. So, in the case with Zora, he has ash magic, but he also can combine that with his traps. And it seems like traps also have, like, just basic abilities, like, you know, you could lay out a trap that can reflect, you know, magic just back at the target, stuff of that nature, okay? But his overall element is ash, so keep that in mind. Okay, so I think trap magic a lot of times is kind of like overlooked in the Black Clover universe anyway, because it just takes time to lay out. You know, it's not the kind of thing you can necessarily just jump into a battle without having any prior preparation and then utilize it to its fullest extent. With the Royal Magic Knight exam, Zora was very clever. I mean, at first glance, like I said, don't judge a book by its cover, because at first glance, he doesn't seem like the brightest colored M&M in the bunch, but he's actually very smart, because the evening before the exam, he went to the site where he knew it was going to be held, and he laid out a bunch of his magic circles all over the place, so when the first day of the battle began, and he just ended up being on one of the first teams to actually participate on the arena, he's just laying back taking a nap, and Asta gets really mad at this, and he's just like, you're not taking this seriously, what are you gonna do? We're supposed to be a team working together, and Zora, who's just went undercover as Zerks at this point, point, Zora is just like, yeah, whatever, you stupid pissant. Just let me take a nap here. But in reality, he knew. It was like, oh, the enemy's attacking. It was like, all right, I'm just going to activate my trap magic and just like boom, boom, boom. And then you destroy the crystal. Problem solved, right? So it's the kind of thing that would really be advantageous if you knew where a battle was going to take place, like the day before, or even just a few hours before. Like, if you went into an open field and it's like, sir, the enemy is marching, they'll be on us within only a few hours, and be like, that's enough time. And then he just goes out into the field and just draws a bunch of circles. Depending on the nature of the trap that he wants to spring, it's going to take probably longer to set up, previously. And I would imagine he also has to impart a little bit of his mana into the trap, while he's setting it in order for it to work. But I think the positive end about that is if you go out like the night before and draw a magic circle and put your mana into it, dump a lot of your mana into it to make it a really strong trap, and then go away, sleep for a night, replenish your magic, come back the next day, you still have a lot of magic, but also that trap still has a lot retained in that as well. See, this is the positive thing here, but it's just like when you're in like a brawl with somebody, all of a sudden it just like happens, you're not going to be able to, just draw the circle. Like, give me 10 seconds, maybe like a minute or two to draw this like trap square right here, so when it, jumps out, you get impaled or something. No, you can't do that. However, Zora did figure out a way around that, in that you don't have to just draw the magic circles on the ground or on objects. You can draw them on yourself and even other people. And so that was kind of his trump card during the exam, where all of his magic circles on the playing field have already been kind of set off already, and once one of the traps have been set off, you can't keep using it, obviously. Like, if you use a circle to, like, trap your opponent, or, shoot spikes out, or, knock the attack back at them, like, reflect it, you can't keep using that same circle. You have to draw another one, right? So it's sort of like a one-and-done sort of deal. But the way that Zora got around that is you just draw the circles on his own body. Now, there's a little bit of a problem with this, because I think it could also be set off by allies. Like, there's a lot of risks involved with drawing all magic circles on your body, because you never know what's going to happen with that. It could misfire and all that stuff. But it actually ended up helping him out quite a bit during that last, few battles during the Royal Magic Knight exam, okay? Because he's just like, wait, I still got something under my sleeve here. Ha-ha! And then all the magic circles just spring off at once. That also helps if somebody tries to just grab him, like if Zora's just kind of walking down the street, not knowing what's around the corner, and then somebody else, this big burly guy, jumps out and just grabs him by the neck and just like, yeah, Zora, what do you think about it now? And he's like, I think this. And then, like, the circle activates and just, like, electrocutes him or something, knocks him back. So it's probably a smart idea to have those on you at all times, especially if this is the kind of lifestyle that you're going to live, kind of like, being a thug, living in the dregs of society, just kind of being a wanderer. That's really handy. Kind of reminds me of, I think there was an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick had, like, this nanofiber mesh around his neck, so if anybody grabbed him, they would just get, like, shocked or something. So that's pretty handy there. Zora's very intelligent with how he uses his magic, okay? He has a lot more mana than his dad did. He has a lot more magical power, which I'm sure he also trained and cultivated while, living on the streets and all that stuff. But also just the way he lays out everything, like, to the point where during that first round of the Royal Magic Knights exam, he wasn't sleeping and just ignoring everything because he was lazy or because he wanted them to do all the work, although that might have been part of it. But he knew that, okay, even if the loud kid yelling in my ear and the girl with the big boobs, even if she can't do everything, at least, I can just spring my traps and then everything will be set. Everything will be good. I can end this like that if I really wanted to. But I think Zora was just more interested in seeing what would happen was Asta and Mimosa, how would they fight, and if Zora could, see them as actual teammates here, especially because Asta is a member of the Black Bulls. Zora would actually like, let me test his mettle. Let's see what's really going on here with everything. Then again, maybe Zora really just, I was up all night laying traps out. I don't have time to worry about this. I'm just going to take some naps, and then after that, I'll start fighting for realsies. The first round doesn't matter. These guys are wimps. We could take them out even without my trap magic, but if you want to go out and give it a shot, you can give it a shot too. And on top of his regular traps, he also has his very powerful counter traps, which basically work by taking the magic that hits it, no matter how strong it is, and that's extremely important, no matter how strong the magic is, and reflects it back at the opponent with double the power. This was insanely useful when going up against the elves. It was a really funny scene when they were trying to figure out a way to rescue Melaleona, and Asta's like, oh, well, if all 5 of the elves combine their attack together and fire it off in one shot, then you can just reflect it back at twice that power with your counterspell. And Zora was like, you're an idiot, Asta. Why would they combine all 5 of their spells together at once? Like, that would be in a ridiculously specific situation. But that actually ended up happening. And so they broke him at the last minute, and they used the counterspell in conjunction with Asta's sword to actually quadruple it. And it was kind of a scrap together thing because he just had to draw the circles really quickly, so it didn't really hold up that well, but it still served its function and managed to force the elves back, and they managed to get Melariona out of there. So yeah, the counter trap is also an extremely powerful spell. It just takes some time to set up like the other spells he has. Now, when it comes to the Ash magic, we've only seen him use just one spell in that regard, and that's the Revelation of the Cowardly, I think he called it. And it's like basically he just sends out a bunch of ash from his grimoire, and it surrounds people's heads, and it basically allows them to see where he placed all of his traps at. So if he placed traps all over in an area or on people's bodies, you know, they basically have, like, you know, x-ray vision with that. They could see all the magic circles that he laid out, so they know exactly where all they are, so they can coordinate their attacks appropriately. We haven't seen him use any, like, offensive Ash magic. I think one of the members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun that attacked the Capitol early on in Black Clover when they were doing, like, the zombies and everything, I think there was, like, one of those... Oh, yeah, wasn't it that witch that was, like, young, but she was actually really old? She could also use Ash magic. So there are offensive spells with it, but the only ones we've seen that Zora uses that weren't the trap spells were, were the Revelation of the Cowardly. It just allows you to see the other traps that he placed. He used this on Noelle and Nozel when they were fighting against the elves, so that was, pretty handy there. He's also really good at, like, reading situations. If you just look at his, like, outward appearance, and you kind of look at him teaming up with Asta when they raided the Eye of the Midnight Sun's base with Melaleona, you might think, like, okay, he's gonna be the kind of guy that's like, let's just charge into battle and beat the crap out of him, But no, that's not really how he does things. When they're in the base, and Melaleona gets, knocked unconscious, she loses, and the elves are reincarnated and everything, Zora realizes pretty damn quickly, like, yeah, we need to retreat. Like, he's well aware of his own weaknesses, like, he has a decent amount of magic power, and when he has his trap spells laid out all over the place, he's pretty confident, but he's just like, okay, yeah, these elves have insane mana, and Melariona, she's one of the strongest, mages, and she's down, so we need to get the hell out of there. And they kind of, like, strategically retreated out of the base there, and Asta, of course, is like, it's like, no, we're going, you're an idiot, like, if you think we could just stay here and win. And so they escape that way. So it was actually rather handy to have Zora there. Also, that one scene when they were breaking up the squads of the Royal Magic Knights to see who would go with who. It was Melariona and Zora and Asta, and Zora tries to do the whole stink bug thing with Melariona, and she just grabs it and just shoves it back in his face with, like, that fire lion claw. That was pretty funny, because it's just like, yeah, that won't work on me, little kid. You guys are strong, and I respect that. And that was a really cool moment, because Zora even, I think, asked her, like, why would you want a bunch of ruffians on your team? And she's just like, I don't view people like that. I view people based solely on strength. I don't care about where you come from. I don't care what squad you're part of. I don't even really care about your personalities. They're kind of garbage, but I don't really care about that either. I'm just like, you're strong, and you're here, and we're gonna go do this, and we're a team, so let's just do this. And so that was a really good moment there, and Zora was just kind of like, even then, he's just like, all right then, I guess I'll do the best I can. And that was a great scene, and it really talked volumes about Zora's character, because you could tell, Melaleona was giving respect to Zora, and Zora, recognized her as a strong warrior and a member of the Magic Knights, and she wasn't going around doing all that horrible stuff that he saw all the other Magic Knights doing, so he respected her right back. He's just like, okay, ma'am, I'll do my best. I guess we're teammates. And then they went out and did it. So it's not like he's just all the time, like, talking back to everybody, and, like, well, he does play pranks on everybody. That seems to be a universal, mostly Asta, but, other people as well. But yeah, you just give him respect, and he'll give it right back to you, okay? And he would once again do anything for his squad mates when, the heat is on, and like, okay, this is actually a battle, all right, I'm gonna help you out here if it's like a life or death situation, right? So last time we saw Zora, it's been a while, I believe, since he's been like in the head of the action in the series. Like I said, he used that spell to help out Noelle and Nozel when they were fighting the elves. I think the last time we saw him was when all the Black Bulls were like with Charmy, and they were all recovering their magic with eating her food and everything. And then I think he stayed outside to help defend the base because there was like a bunch of elves coming at them from all over the kingdom, and he chose to stay behind while the others went into the palace for the final battle gauntlet. He chose to stay outside to fight against all the other elves when all the other magic knights arrived to help him. All right, so that would be pretty handy there. Actually, as long as there's a lot of other people fighting with him, his trap spells can come very handy because, you know, okay, go and distract them, and then while they're doing that, I'm going to run around the battlefield. I don't know how long it takes him to set up one trap circle. You know, if it's just like, you know, I guess it depends on the spell. If he wants to do a really simple spell, just like, oh, if anybody steps on this circle, like, you know, ash comes out and burns them or something like that. Like, that might not take a lot of magic, or it might just, like, if anybody steps on this circle, they'll get pushed off, or it's like a force field. That might not take too much power or too much time, but if he wants to do something that packs a lot of punch, he's got to take more time to do it. But as long as he has a lot of people running interference, goes around the battlefield and, like, in strategic choke points, setting up these circles, yeah, I think that could be very advantageous. So, yeah, we don't really know what Zora's up to right now, you know, but as the fighting winds down, I'm sure we'll cut to outside and we'll see, like, they defeated all the elves that they could have in that situation. There might be a few casualties, but I'm sure Zora is still alive. I'm sure he's still good. But yeah, you know, like, Luck is my favorite Black Bull. But honestly, like, top 5, definitely Zora. He's really in there. He might even be 2 or 3, because when I was actually doing research and going back and reading all of the chapters he was in, I really loved the character when he first showed up. It's just I hadn't reread those chapters in so long. I went back and read them, like, yeah, Zora's pretty badass, man. I like his design. I like his personality. He's a likable enough guy once you get to know him and once you learn what he's been through and everything with his father. It's not really any surprise how he turned out, especially with the way that the world works in Black Clover, with the way the royals and everything act to the peasants. You know, it makes sense that he would turn out that way, considering what happened to his dad. But he's a nice enough guy, and his magic was unique, and I like the whole idea of, like, okay, his specialty is, like, setting magic circles out, like, beforehand, and, you know, kind of like, you know, the battle is decided before it even starts, you know, kind of like a Art of War kind of style with the way he does things, and I really like that about him. So, yeah, hope to see more Zora in the future. Now, who is going to be the next member that we're going to be discussing? I actually don't know. Allow me to check. Okay, and drum roll, please. The next Black Bull we will be discussing is Henry, who is the most recent Black Bull added to the midst. So, his might be, I always say, his might be the shortest, but we never know with mine. It could end up being over 45 minutes long, because I really like Henry. I like his design as well. So, talking about Henry next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Hold on a second. It got stuck to my foot. It's like adhesive craft foam. Yeah. See you later, you damn piss ants.